What the fuck is this shit, bro?
The FBI says it's received more than 3,000 tips from the public about drone sightings going back to November 18th, all over New Jersey. Since then, there's been an average of 92 sightings per night and expanding across half a dozen states. In a joint statement, the FBI and Department of Homeland Security said, quote, "We have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or public safety threat, or that they have a foreign nexus." So what's going on? Is this some contagious mass hysteria? Or are people really seeing something that our government cannot identify?
What the fuck is that? You're seeing that, right? Because they're fucking drones.
We're here in central Jersey. We've been looking for the past hour. I think we've seen about 40 or 50 of these drones. In fact, there's one over my shoulder right there. One after another, these drones appeared in the night sky. If you look real close, they look like fixed-wing aircraft, about 8 to 10 feet wide, colorful, white blinking lights. I was invited to join the Ocean County Sheriff Department. They launched their own drones to see if they could intercept the mysterious aircraft New Jersey residents have been reporting in recent weeks. The department says these mystery drones evade detection because they don't give off heat like regular drones.
You know, it's not something that we've had our hands on. It's not something that we've experienced.
One of their officers called 911 after seeing 50 of them come off the ocean.
Advised after we made contact with that officer that there were 50 that came off the ocean.
50?
50. That was my reaction also. We contacted state police, we contacted the FBI, we contacted the Coast Guard, at which point the Coast Guard went out with their boat and they reported seeing 13 following their boat. And then the Coast Guard also advised that they went over them about 300 feet and had a wingspan of about 8 feet.
The federal government doesn't know what they are either.
What's your message to the White House?
Just come to the Jersey Shore, come see what we see, and then, you know, maybe have a better appreciation for why our residents are concerned.
What is that?
They were tracking one of these drones, Elizabeth, and they said this thing easily evaded them, disappeared out of thin air.
You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are? Is that correct?
That's right.
That's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. That's madness that we don't know what these drones are.
I walked out because it was worthless. It was the biggest amateur hour presentation I've ever seen about anything, okay? It was ridiculous. There were no answers. Every question that was asked by a member of the state legislature, great questions, no answers, no resolution. They don't know where the drones are coming from. They don't know who's doing it. They don't know why they're doing it, but they say there's no credible threat. It was annoying to be there. The biggest waste of 5 hours in my entire life.
So why do you think they called this meeting?
No idea. Why would you call a meeting and tell people you don't know anything? The colonel of the state police said that he had a helicopter of his flying above one of these drones, a 6-foot drone or something, I can't remember exactly what he said, and he felt unsafe for his helicopter, so he just let it go. This is a complete lack of effort.
Oh my God, here we go. Here it is. Are you freaking kidding me right now? What is that?
At this time, we have no evidence that these activities are coming from a foreign entity or the work of an adversary. We're going to continue to monitor what is happening, but you know, at no point were our installations threatened when this activity was occurring.
They're saying no threat, but how the hell do they know? They don't know anything. They don't know what it is. They don't know where it come from. They don't know nothing.
Who is flying these drones? Why are they being flown? And why is the government not giving them any answers?
We need to know who's behind it. But right now, I think law enforcement seems to be the Department of Homeland Security and the Defense Department are kind of all doing this and pointing at each other.
Do you have any information about these drones that are flying over the United States right now?
I don't know. But what I do know is that I think that the administration needs to be more forthcoming with information that they have.
He's like right there with it. Oh, he's like right on it. Oh, that whatever it was just shut down the drone, if that was a drone.
What in the world is happening? What?
President-elect Donald Trump, he just called on the Biden administration for you guys to either release any information it has about these mysterious drone sightings or shoot the drones out of the sky. How do you respond to the president-elect?
We haven't seen anything unusual. We know of no threat.
We're not being told the truth. They are dealing with the American public like we're stupid. They don't know what it is. They don't know what it's about. They haven't taken one down to analyze it. They have no idea where it comes from, but they know that it's not that. I mean, that's nonsense. They do not know what they're doing. Why don't they take one of them down, analyze it, and let us know what's really happening?
What do you say to the congressman?
Well, first of all, we have experts, and he should not diminish the extent of their expertise and the extent of their dedication to the well-being of the American people. Number two, it's not as though anyone can just take down a drone in the sky. That in and of itself would be dangerous.
Do you have the authority to shoot down drones?
Our authorities are very limited. We can't just shoot a drone out of the sky.
But do you know for sure these are drones or unmanned aircraft? What are they?
We believe that there are cases of mistaken identity where drones are actually small aircraft and people are misidentifying them. There very well may be drones in the sky, of course, but those are commercially available. One can go into a convenience store and buy a small drone. There are also commercial drones as well. But we know of no threat or nefarious activity.
These are all drones in the sky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 right here. This one is extremely low. It's loud.
It's really huge.
And it's huge.
It's so big. It looks so much closer in person.
It's like a small plane. It really is like a small plane.
It's crazy.
Oh my God.
They just keep coming.
We have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or a public safety threat, or have a foreign nexus. We have not been able to, and neither have state or local law enforcement authorities, corroborate any of the reported visual sightings. To the contrary, upon review of available imagery, it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully.
You just heard from John Kirby there over at the White House. What say you?
Well, I think it's very misleading at best to say that sightings that people in the Coast Guard, in the United States Navy, and many law enforcement people have seen it. They've seen it in a way that suggests formations that are coming off the ocean into the land. And even with the Coast Guard, I spoke to one of the commanders who said one of our 47-foot rescue boats, right on its stern, were between 12 and 30 drones following close proximity. Yeah. The commanding officer told me that his guys looked up and saw a drone right near the rail line that takes our munitions to the pier, which are then unloaded onto ships.
So here's what the White House says, and this is kind of where I'm stuck. They said today that it's lawful commercial drones, hobbyist drones, manned aircraft, even stars. And the United States government, with its $800 billion Pentagon budget, needed to, quote-unquote, surge resources to figure that out?
John, on the drones, does the U.S. government have any of its own imagery or video of these systems?
I'm not aware that we have U.S. government produced imagery ourselves, but as I said in my opening statement, we have certainly done thorough analysis of the existing imagery.
Quote, the sightings to date include a combination of lawful commercial drones, hobbyist drones, and law enforcement drones, as well as manned fixed-wing aircraft, helicopters, and even stars that were mistakenly reported as drones. He goes on to say we have not identified anything anomalous or any national security or public safety risk over the civilian airspace in New Jersey and or in other states in the Northeast.
I'll certainly invite the National Security Advisor to come to New Jersey, visit us,
and listen to some law enforcement and his own naval personnel and speak with them, because these are trained eye professionals. We get that some people may be calling in manned aircraft, but at the same token, you can't have members of the state police, county and local law enforcement, trained personnel from the Picatinny Arsenal and Naval Weapons Station, or all 2 military installations here in New Jersey, calling it what it is, right? The highly sophisticated, very large objects that avoid detection, have their lights turned on and off, move at rapid speeds. That is what it is on the ground here.
The federal government now says the drone sightings over the country are a mix of actual aircraft, hobbyist drones, and stars that no government agency, including the FAA and Defense Department, have identified as anomalous that would pose a national security risk.
We don't know they're drones, correct? They are UAPs. Why? Why aren't they being called UAPs?
Because we don't know if there are UAPs. We don't know what they are. That's what we're trying to find out.
Identified, of course.
Nobody knows what they are. We have to find out.
Senator,
yes.
U.S. military drones?
We don't believe we do not believe they are U.S. military drones, or the military would have told us that.
Have you spoken with top government leaders about the possibilities involved with non-human intelligence?
Look, we have spoken with top government leaders about finding the answers to what these are. We don't know what they are. No more, sir. Let other people, okay?
The American people have lost trust in our government, specifically the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security.
In terms of the preponderance of sightings, reported sightings in the New Jersey Northeast corridor, I can't answer that question, Mike. Again, personal experience, I have seen drones in D.C.
I'm telling you, they're not moving. They're staying stationary. They're hovering. Look at the lights changing. When you look to the left of the Capitol, those are not moving.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. They're here.
Can we go back in the car?
They're here, Ella.
It's literally got the weirdest lights on it. Look at that. That's not a plane.
Sometimes when you focus on something, suddenly you notice more. And so, there's always the potential that because of the heightened awareness, now we're just more aware of this particular issue. But again, we'll continue to take this very seriously. We'll continue to take appropriate action if and when it's deemed that any of these drones near U.S. military installations pose a threat. Again, I think it's been very clear that we've not identified that any of these reported drone sightings were assessed as anomalous, or that it presented a national security or public safety risk.
An alarming drone incident that forced one of the U.S.'s most critical Air Force bases to close its airspace for several hours. This happened at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base over the weekend in Ohio. And just in, new air traffic control audio obtained by military news website The War Zone of the moment it happened.
Med Flight 8 Patterson Tower, use extreme caution for heavy UAS movement on the base. Security forces is handling the situation, and I gotta keep the lights down so that security forces can see.
Ohio, now the latest of several states to report drone concerns as scrutiny over the federal response is building. This morning, lawmakers are demanding government officials do more and explain more after weeks of suspicious sightings.
This incident at the Air Force Base over the weekend at Wright-Patterson really increasing the alarm. The fact that that airspace was closed for 4 hours. This is, as you noted, a very critical Air Force center. It hosts the Air Force Research Lab, the National Air and Space Intelligence Center. So certainly concerning that a drone would be flying in that airspace overhead. And it comes as these drone sightings are only increasing, now extending beyond New York and New Jersey.
There are no reported or confirmed drone sightings in any restricted airspace.
The sightings are happening near LaGuardia Airport, too. Officials say they received unconfirmed reports of drone activity over that busy airport.
Where are all these drones coming from that people are seeing, and why aren't we doing a better job of tracking them and understanding that it can't be the Wild West of drones out there in Jersey or anywhere else? We got to get to the bottom of this, and people deserve answers.
These are not U.S. military drones. Again, this is being investigated by local law enforcement. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
Representative Jeff Van Drew, who is a Republican from New Jersey, was just on the air saying that Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones, and that mothership is off the coast of the east coast of the United States. Is there any truth to that?
There is not any truth to that. There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States.
We had a briefing from the state police, the colonel in the state police. He was frustrated. He had no idea where these drones are coming from. If the Department of Defense doesn't know where the origins are for these so-called drones, then we're in trouble. We always thought that if there was something in the air the size of a car, that the Department of Defense would know where it came from, what its origin was, and what its purpose was. So my guess is there is information, but they're holding it back.
The FBI says they have no evidence of malicious activity or intent in these drone flights. What is it that they might not be telling us, and why?
Well, no evidence that this is a threat. What does that mean?
Right.
You mean they didn't do anything sinister yet? Well, yet. Yeah, I probably can make that statement, and I have no top secret clearance. Based on what I've seen so far, looking out my window, it doesn't appear to be a threat to our country. Okay, why? Well, because I looked out the window. How did people with the technology have no idea except it's not, if they're saying it's not a threat, it must be something going on that's real top secret. Whatever these drones are doing, the government really doesn't want us to know. It must be something going on that they can't tell us because they are so fearful of what the public's going to do when they hear what the drones are doing.
American lawmakers have been much more open to discussing unidentified objects in the skies above North America, haven't they?
Yes, indeed, the Director of National Intelligence submitted 3 reports to the U.S. Congress, and a new office was established in the Pentagon to examine these reports and figure out whether these unidentified objects are of national security threat or perhaps even extraterrestrial in origin. A few percent are unclear, and it's an admission by the military and the intelligence agencies that there are things flying overhead that they don't know their nature, and therefore it needs to be figured out.
What is this? Is this the same kind of drone that they're seeing in New Jersey?
Well, the fundamental question is whether indeed the US government has materials or information that has nothing to do with national security, that indicates visits from outside the solar system. My hope is that if the government has such evidence, they will share it with scientists, because what lies outside the solar system is not a matter of national security. It's of interest to everyone on Earth.
It's gone. What the fuck was that?